Not sarcastic.
All right, guys, let's get started.
He's like, thanks, I'm like,
Full house. Yay, I'm so glad you're here. Are you ready to be done? Yes. Are you ready to be done? Yes. All right. So, just a couple of quick side notes. You have a journal due in March.
Yeah, is it due next Friday or after spring break? Because on mine it says
What does it say? Google
the
Classroom?
29th, which is the end of March, which is during spring break. But I think in the
So you have, so your choice would be to turn it in this week or work during break. You just finished your update. If you haven't turned it in yet, what we're looking for really at this point in the game is changing your pathways by adding more to your pathways. So think about that. That's the easiest thing to do. And make sure you fill in the bottom of your ILP the comments of what you changed. And then I believe I've already assigned, but the due date is in the middle of April, the self-assessment. So we want you to touch that again because you're going to be answering questions in your presentation based on the data from the self-assessment. Do it in a different color. So if you did the first one in yellow, do this one in green or whatever. Highlight, date, sources of evidence code. What I need you to do is go back and find your continuum, click copy, file, make a copy, and then that's what you're submitting. If you were in a different place last year than Madera County, you may not have a copy of that. So if you can find it, great. If you can't, email me and we'll work something out. You'll probably have to do it twice. So you get a kind of a before and after picture on your self-assessment. And the rest of April is meant for you to finalize your data. So you're looking at that pre-assessment that you did in August, September, and the summative assessment that we're doing now, and looking at your focus groups. So those are the assignments that are coming due in March and April. There's no journal due in April. So we're done with journals as of next Friday. Questions so far about assignments? Okay, backstory. When I started the program, we didn't do anything like this. Some of you may have been in the program when we did. We had a big, huge party. And we sat at tables, and you had some questions that you asked, and everybody celebrated, and we were good. And then funding got in the way, and Schwarzenegger got in the way. We went from 500,000 to 300,000 to now we get nothing, hardly. So we changed it. And we went, at that point, we went to presentation. What we found was the presentation was pretty heavy on data and light on the story. Okay, we made an adjustment. Let's tell the story. So we went to an interview, which all of you should have done if you're second year last year, which turned out to be really super light on data, heavy on the story. So my advisory committee said, because I wanted something that was in the middle, and they said, do both. I went, both? Both. Okay. So if you have friends that are in the program, or you're mentoring somebody in a first year situation, they're going through the interview. Some of the interview questions have changed, and they're actually reflected in the presentation. And second years in ECO are doing their presentations. All right? Here's the thing. I'm going to ask you to come back to Madera one more time. Trying to find a location to make this happen is proving difficult. In fact, we're still struggling with that. We're going to have to go to one of our sites and hold them there. And so as soon as we get that finalized, we will email you and have you sign up for an appointment. And we're going to do second year in ECOs first, and then first years, so that if there's any issues, we can resolve them before school is out. Okay? I'm going to ask you to print 4 copies of your ILP and bring them with you. And that's it. That's all you have to bring that's required. All right? We're going to have you log in to Google Classroom, and away we go. Your presentation will already be there. Okay? So because we're going to make that an assignment in the classroom, but I'm not going to grade it in the classroom. Okay? So your presentation will be submitted in the classroom, but not graded, so that when we come to presentation, all you have to do is log in. That way we don't have to worry your Jangle doesn't work, your Wi-Fi is not working, the password's not working, or whatever. We'll make sure all the technology is set up for you to use. Now, it is recommended that you bring some sort of notes. Okay? I really don't want you to script it and tell me every sentence that you know, so you're just reading. But it's pretty data heavy. It's not as bad as it used to be, but you're not going to remember all of them. So we want you to probably need to have some notes. Okay? Also, and I don't mean for this to be this way, but I know that you're going to be nervous. So let me tell you a couple of things. One, you're going to either meet the standard, I've shown growth as a teacher, or not meet the standard. It's not worst case scenario if you didn't show enough evidence of teacher growth. If you didn't show enough evidence of teacher growth, the first step is I'm going to get on the phone with you. I'm going to ask you some very specific questions to find the data that we're looking for. And once I feel good about that, check her off and move forward. Most of the time, it's just a few things, and we can get that resolved. Having said that, this year we're allowing the panel to ask you questions, and we're telling them mentors we're going to say clarifying questions. So they're not going to go off script and ask you a brand new question no one else is getting. They're going to ask you clarifying questions. Okay? They're looking for the answers, because we found a couple years ago that we said teachers didn't meet the standard, and had we spent 5 minutes talking to that teacher that night, we would have had the evidence we needed and we could have moved on. Okay? So if you don't have enough evidence of growth, we'll get on the phone. If it's a disaster, in a few cases, we'll actually have you re-present your presentation. Okay? But nobody's going to walk out of here with a failure. Please come back for year 3. That's not in the cards. Okay? However, I know y'all. Is that how you say it in Chechua? I know y'all, or all y'all? You say all y'all, right? All y'all. And that you're overachievers, and this might be the first time you're like disappointed and failed, and you're going to be upset. I get it. I promise to be super nice and kind and sweet, and we'll get through this together. All right, you feel me? Is that old school? Like maybe? Okay. Questions so far? All right, let's talk about the directions. So on the board and in your handout are the directions. We're going to ask you to limit your slides to 10 bullets. It's okay this time not to write in complete sentences, so you can write statements. But please use punctuation. Organized and clear. Don't capitalize everything. It feels like you're shouting at us. Hey, and it says here 2 fonts and 2 colors. Here's the thing. We really don't want you to spend all your time, what's the best way to say it, blinging your presentation. All right? We're going to give you a template. If you want it to be black and white, that's fine. Okay? We're good with that. We're not grading you on your style points. This isn't guiding. We're grading you on the content. All right? And we really want to hear your story. Okay. All right. A couple of notes about the so you have to take a copy, and in a few days I'm going to put this in the classroom. Notice that this is shaded. It's probably not shaded on your paper as well. But notice that it's shaded. We want you to complete this information, but we want you to delete this. Right? So please don't say name and then Brian Douglas. Okay? Oh, I should back up for a second. So this is in there. What does it say right here? Please don't use this in your presentation. Capiche? All right. And it's shaded as well. This one's pretty simple. You're not even really getting graded. Tell us your name, your site, your teaching assignment, where'd you go to school, and this is about your credential. What kind of credential do you have? So you have a single subject or a multiple subject gen education credential, or you have an ed specialist. Most of you would be mild moderate, some of you have mild severe. Okay, so tell us what credential you have. Tell us your prior teaching experience. Some of you, this is your 4th, 5th, 6th year of teaching. You want to know that. It kind of plays into what we're hearing in your presentation. If you're telling us, hey, this is my 3rd year teaching and I'm an ECO and da-da-da-da, whoa, that's pretty shallow. Oh, I'm not my 7th year of teaching, or I did 2 years in Tennessee and then I did 10 years, right? Tell us all that. Very simple. Okay. Again, it's shaded, so what do we want you to do? Okay, answer the questions or leave. What was your ILP goal for your first CST element? What was the motivation in choosing your goal for this CSTP? There is a rubric in the back of your presentation. All right, so think back. Most of you have done this twice. How did we arrive at the element and the goal that you wrote? What tools did we use? Give her the camera. Self-assessment. My self-assessment identified standard 1.3 as being an area of growth. Okay, and you tell us your goal. Okay. What are some other things that would also tell us that this indicated an area of growth? So self-assessment's a big one. What else? You're all experienced teachers, so therefore you all have had this happen to you on multiple occasions.
Observations.
By your admin who gave you an evaluation. Good. That's a good source. My evaluation last year also indicated that you also had a meeting with your mentor and yourself and your administrator. We call that a triad meeting. Check if I understand here. And finally, we had mentor observations, coaching observations, administrator observations, right? All help us identify this standard as an area of growth. Okay? You with me so far? Pretty simple. All right, next question. What pathways for your first CSTP element were most impactful for your teaching practice and why? Again, this is shaded. So is this down here? Shaded means what? Legal. Okay. Tell us about your pathways. It's plural. Standard is, in the rubric says at least 2 up to 3. You have hopefully by now 6 or 7 or 8 on your pathways. But what 2 or 3 really moved the needle? Tell us the story. What are some examples of pathways that are on your ILB?
Observing. Like
Say again?
us observing.
You observing other teachers.
Going to professional development.
Going to professional development. Mm-hmm. PLC meetings. Analyzing student work. Talking to my peers. Researching on the net. Went to Kagan training, went to classroom management training, or whatever it is that you went to. All of that works. Feedback from your mentors, from their observing you. But what moved the needle the most? Can anyone have a think about one that really helped you? No one wants to share it? Too many people? I'll share from Golden Valley. I was out there a couple weeks ago, and the teacher said, I went to OG training. I went, you went to original gangster training? No! It was about literacy in the classroom, and we learned how to use manipulatives instead of making students draw and trace letters on a ditto. Can you say ditto? Y'all know what it
Copies cranked out.
Back in the day, you went and they spit out these things, and they were blue, and they smelled wonderful. Nostalgia over here. In fact, it was such a thing that there was a guy on the radio that said, I ditto that. I copy that, what you just said. That's it. Now you know. She said I was using these manipulatives, and the students were learning how to write the letters in the sand, they were using Play-Doh, or using pipe cleaners, and they were learning how to. And so I asked her, I said, well, did engagement go up? Oh yeah, it went great, the kids were all over it. Oh, that's fantastic. Did you go home less stressed? Oh yeah, it was great because I had a great day. Did the student achievement go up? Yes. I said, that's the story you wanted to hear. That was a pathway that you investigated, learned, implemented, and had crazy results with. I was in another classroom just a couple of days ago, and they were, I'm going to get this wrong, but thinking classroom was, and then there's a B, BTC. And I said, oh, it's a pop band. No, it was about thinking classrooms. Okay, so the students were all in groups of 3 with miniature whiteboards that were taped to the wall, working some math problems out. And they each had a little job. And it was math that I was like, whoa, something about exponents and square roots and like, I don't know, I thought it was a job. But this 9th grade girl stands up and goes, huh, I guess I can do math. And with this huge grin on her face, and I thought, oh my gosh, do you know how huge that is for a female that always struggled in math and was told because you're a girl you can't do math, stood up in front of the whole class and said, I can do math. She was beaming. I said, can I quote you? Yes, I can. I want that. That was something I wrote down in my notebook because I want to share that story. I want that teacher to tell that pathway of how they're implementing thinking classroom and how it's affecting the engagement and classroom management and student outcomes. Can you do that? Do you have a pathway that tickled your fancy that moved the needle? We want to hear that story. And it would be great if you could make us cry. All right. Growth and measurable outcomes. Did the students meet the measurable outcomes you created for your first goal? Hey, and if not, that's okay. The criteria for the program isn't I met my goal, I'm out. It's I learned and I progressed in my teaching practice. And I found out that if I made some changes, this is what I learned, this is what I would do next time. This strategy didn't work at all, I'm not even going to try it, or whatever. Tell us why. And one year we had Bass Lake telling us, well, we had all kinds of forest fires that really interrupted our ability to teach. And we all went through COVID, like, hello. It was really different. There might have been some extenuating circumstances. Or it could just be that you set the goal too high, right? Or you went a different direction throughout the year. It's okay. Tell us what you learned, what you would do next time. But to make your notes, we want to hear about your overall pre and post, the pre-assessment and summative assessment, and your focus tools. So this is going to be where the data is, but we want to limit it to 2 slides. Yes, you can use pictures if you want to show us that, music, you want to show us a sound, a video, a short clip, you can do all that. But mostly this is about the numbers. Did they meet their goals? Relating to your ILP.
So for that, like, if we have, like, this NWEA, like, can we put the graph up there?
Perfect.
Okay. Do we need to block out the student name?
It's probably a good idea.
Okay.
You can leave their ID numbers in there, or you can give us initials or whatever.
Okay.
Are you going to scan it anyway, or is it already?
It's all on the internet, just like a screenshot.
Just block it out with black highlighters.
Yeah.
Just for the,
Yeah.
just in case something might object. Good question. Any other questions? All right. Just like it says on the shampoo bottle, wash, rinse, and repeat. So the second goal, pathway for outcomes. All right. As you think about your IOP goals and measurable outcomes, what are some accomplishments that you're most proud of? This is where, remember I said we wanted to hear more of the story in our presentation? This is where we want to hear the story. You've already given us the evidence. Tell us the story. Think about your IOP goals. Tell me about how Brian Douglas couldn't do anything, and now he can do everything. Okay? Your student couldn't read, you were 2 grades below, you intervened, you brought him at lunch, you did this, you did that, and now the student's at its target. Okay? You're looking at your NWA goals, and my students made 300% growth this year. Okay? I'd be proud of that. And we're looking at some of my Madera High English teacher scores in there. We're seeing that kind of work. I hope to hear that in our presentation. What are you most proud of? Tell us the story. Okay. All right, this is a new question. And we asked it in the March Reflecting Guide. It was blue, and I made sure that we already talked about this. Yes? Hopefully nobody's confused. In what way did you build relationship with your students this year? And notice that second part of the question. And how did it change the classroom environment? And I'm predicting that some of you are going to forget to answer the second part of that question. Right? So I stood at the door, I high-fived everybody, I learned everybody's favorite color, I know what snacks are, I went to the soccer games, great relationships. And then that's the end of your answer. How did it change the environment in the classroom? Okay? So talk to me about that. Once again, we're looking for a story. Okay? All right. Another question that you haven't encountered. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back this. Why are we asking this question? The CSTP's last revision, the California Standards for the Teaching Profession, last revision was 2009. And about every 10 years, they change them. Well, getting math teachers in the house, how many years has it been? 15, right? So they're coming out. It looks like April will have the final version of the new CSTPs. And there's a lot of social emotional in there now that wasn't in there before. I think COVID really made us aware of that, right? So we're going to be looking at this, and going forward, this is going to become more a part of the program. So we're just going to start embedding it now, because we actually have to make revisions to our program and tell CTC what we're doing to answer those questions. That's why it's doing. All right. How did you change a challenge this year into a win? All right, let me give you one caution. It's still Madera County. So now's not the time to tell me that your most challenging thing was your next door neighbor, your peers, or your admin. As sure as the world, this is Madera, they're going to hear it. You know? So, try to make sure that it's not about your peers or your admin. But tell us about a challenge that you overcome. Hey, we're not asking again for data, this is a story. You tell us a story. Okay? What evidence do you have that indicates you've grown as a teacher? All right, so we have now come full circle to the CSTPs. So remember I just told you that I want you to do that by the middle of next month. 2 colors, so now you can show maybe those 2 standards that you identified in your goals. Say I grew from here to here. How do you know that you grew from there? Well, now I'm able to do this. Now my students are able to do that. Okay? This is showing us the growth. In August I really struggled with, but now I can do this. Okay? So this is circling back to that self-assessment and why I'm making you do it again. Again, if you were somewhere else last year and not in my program, you may not have a copy of that self-assessment from that other program. Contact me because we need to work something out. Otherwise, if you were with me last year, it's in your Google Drive. Even though I archived the class, it's still in your Google Drive. Okay? If you're an ECO, you did it you should have done it last spring. I mean last fall. 23, okay. All right. Last one. As you think about your future, what steps will you take to continue to learn and grow professionally? All right. That's like the interview question, you know, at the job, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Something like that. But we are hoping, so we're going to manipulate you into answering that. I've come to have a growth mindset through induction, and I'm going to keep going with that in my career, right? Tell us what you're thinking. I'm going to get my master's degree, and in 10 years I want to be a site lead or admin. And next year I'm going for PLC lead or grade level lead. I'm going to be the department chair. What are you thinking about? We want you to leave our program with that, constantly thinking, what's next? All right, here's what I want to do now for about the next 15, 20 minutes. I want you to meet with your mentor and go through the questions and start kind of thinking, how am I going to answer these? Okay? And I would have told you to go and sit out there, but I took all the chairs. If you want to hang in the parking lot, if you want to hang in the hallway, if you need some space, I'm down with that. And let's say that at 5:20 we'll come back and sit down. If you want to stand here, you can do that too. So let's go till 5:20, and I just want you to start answering those questions and start thinking about it. And the reason I'm making you do that is so that if you have questions, we're still here together to answer those questions. Sometimes it's like the 5th grade math assignment where the kids got it in your class and then they go home to do homework and they're like, I don't know. So take some time with your mentor and go through those questions and start outlining and thinking about what you're answering. 5:20.
We're going to do those already. Yeah. Teacher growth challenge. It's there. Teacher growth challenge. Relationships challenges. Okay. One for yes.
One of those
That's true.
You're playing for
That seems to be, yeah, you have to hand over hand. Right. I don't even know. That's your part, it's your time. And my idea is that you talk to me at the and we were the students, but yeah, personal thing. I'm gonna do a little sample I remember what Aaron but I know we have one of the schools where the programs
Every day, little side things that we can do to change.
Yeah, that's okay. Just send it this out. Yeah, I can know it from me or from your
Yeah, I think that you've got this year like brought something up. I know what I used to do in my life. After that, I was down and I would just write which they were, and I would send them to files, and then I could see where I could make them and match
Right. Like one of the things she said was
on the journal.
like when your journals and tell it and she was like,
Perfect.
always trying to ask the question. Just tell them what you're doing. And I always like it changed the way I talk or the way that I address her questions. Ask for what are you doing right now that is disturbing your eyes? That makes you think about it. And like I said, the guy met for sure.
Right, I know.
Questions.
The whole thing's only what, 15, 20 minutes? 20 minutes. So you don't need to talk about, 5 or 10 minutes on it. Just do it. Just share.
I know, I get that. If I got it with you guys at the beginning, 20 minutes.
I think
see, I would love that. I think this is trying to get rid of the lawyer.
That shows, right?
And then like also somebody that lived in like my neighborhood, like
what I see is I think it's more actually for that and structural strategies have a challenge whether it's going to be as to the down to culture. And again, you should change that relationships so I've been very just trying to pull a child not and I'm like, when I was in I used to have to eat like calories. And it gave me a like so they're going to be what are they going to look at? They transition to digital. But they transition to
Alright, class?
Yes.
That was a Boy Scout meeting for a long time, so we go Scout side. Alright, questions? No?
Hold on, no, sorry, I was just, I'm sure there will be like.
Listen, Christine Rio, best way to get a hold of me is to text me. I'll answer you as best I can pretty rapidly with a text. Email has been known to marinate for a few days, so text me or call me if you want to call me on the phone. You know what? It doesn't even bother me if you text me at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. If I don't answer you, I'll sleep, but if I'm not, I'll answer you. It doesn't bother me. If you want to text me on the weekend, I'm good with that. So ask your questions, and I just want to make sure I'm available to you to take care of whatever needs to get done. And otherwise, we'll see you in about, what, 6, 7 weeks? Right.
On those assessments, our interviews, is it gonna be, are we trying to shoot like for beginning of May, end of May?
Ladies,
Early May.
like last week of April and the first week of May, something like that. I have to look at the calendar for sure. It's a lot of moving parts, but yes.
And then when are we going to again get this? Oh, you are.
I'll get this to you first tomorrow. I finished all my presentations. Hey, one more thing, guys. Somebody asked about time. So I will tell you, when we did the presentations in the past, 20 minutes felt rushed. So some of you mentors remember 20 minutes felt rushed. So we're looking at a target of somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. So you can tell your story. Okay? So we're gonna set these at like 30-minute increments.
What's a passing score?
Everybody passes.
20.
Perfect, I like that one.
Look at the rubric.
I have it.
I didn't, I put it in my notes for 2 on this, like there's a 0, 1, 2.
Okay, total, like how many points you have to have. Well, no, it's just so you don't have to, get called back. So it's like callbacks? This. No, if you have to change.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12,
Oh,
16, 17,
21, above 21.
20.
Yep, 21 and over. Meet standard, anything under 20.
21.
21. I thought that was 21.
Okay, so that means that you can get a 1 as long as you get a 3 somewhere else. And there's some that only allow you a max of 2 points.
Right.
So I believe it's 21 is. And by the way, somebody says, what is passing? What meets the standard? Right? I've shown enough evidence of growth, I met the standard. I haven't met the standard yet. It's versus pass, fail. Okay? And it's important that you understand that. I'm not just trying to jive you with some words. I met the standard, I haven't met the standard yet. Okay?
So 21 meets the standard.
That's the standard. All right, guys, thanks again. Safe drive. Take some chocolate.
And then I have.
I'll think too, I'll come up with
We'll have to.
You don't like Mondays. All right, Tuesday.
Mondays and Thursdays, I don't.
Tuesday.